Hi, so I promised I'd show you how to make the fluffy pancakes that I put the recipe on Twitter for. So here we go. And you start off with getting all your ingredients and you put them in a bowl like that. I'm very sorry that I didn't show you the measuring, probably should have. All I do is tear it. If I can get the tear button working, I think I might have, there we go. That's us. So in between each one, there's a tear button. If you press that, it will zero it, so you can literally add up all your ingredients. I've done the double portions. Okay, done the double portions. So there's 2 eggs in there, there's 270 flour, there's 10 grams baking powder, 60 grams butter, 60 grams caster sugar, 260 milk. And every time I added them, press tear. Doesn't matter if you're not measuring out the milk in millilitres. If you've got millilitres button, which this one does, you can, but what you'll find is they're pretty much the same as the grams. It's much more accurate using the scales to measure them than it is to do it in a jug and eyeball it, because the jugs haven't got very accurate gradients. There's no 260 on there, you just have to go, well, it's about there. Much better to get the same thing every time by using the actual scales. So next thing, warm up your pan, don't get it too hot. Excuse the hob, it's a little bit dusty from, no, it's covered in flour. Just warming up the pan. This is a skillet pan, you can use a frying pan. And then, your best friend, this stick blender, okay? All that'll do is heat this up. As you'll notice, there's no utensils here. I didn't use any spoons or anything, so all the mixing and all the washing up is limited to this, your pan, and whatever plates you're using. So we're going to give these a mix. I'll turn off the camera now and then show you the mixture at the end. Okay, so here's one I made earlier. This is the consistency you're looking for. It's kind of like cake batter, not like your standard crepe batter, just to give you an idea. So that is the consistency. Make sure when you're checking it that the bottom doesn't still have loads of flour like I do, so I'm going to keep on giving this a little mix. As I'm doing that, my pan, I'm just going to scoop a little bit of butter and rub it in my pan. I'll keep hold of that on the pan pot stand, just sort of got something. You don't want more than that. So that's looking about right. You can see the butter's just getting quite warm and bubbly. First pour is never the best, so you might only want to do 2 or 3 just to make sure that the pan's up to temperature. All you do is you pour out one. That's quite a big one. If you like a bigger fluffy pancake, that's fine. My kids tend to want ones that are just a little drip. So about that size. They do spread a little bit. And let's give this one a go. What you might notice is there's no ladles involved here, because who wants even more washing up of sticky porridge batter? 3, let's do a 4th one and see. 3 and 4, because what you want to look for is the bubbles. You can start seeing that there's one forming there. When I say look for the bubbles, what I'm going to do now is grab a spatula. The main thing to think about with the spatula, it's got to have a nice fine edge. I've tried all kinds. There's lots of really nice silicone spatulas that cost you a fortune, but they're too thick. This was a cheaper one from a well-known superstore, but it's just the right thickness to get underneath. So we're looking at this one, it's starting to form bubbles, but it's not quite there yet. So I reckon for a first pour that these are looking quite good. See how the bubbles got that little bit bigger because they've risen. Those ones are starting to look bumpy on the top. Let's have a quick look at the big one because that went in first. Ooh, lovely. So if that one's ready, these ones probably are. 2, 2, 3, 4. Oh yes, lovely. So we're just going to give them maybe 10-15 seconds. They don't need an awful long time on the other side, just enough to brown. And then I'm going to put them on a plate like this. If you notice, I've got some kitchen paper underneath because when they come off here, they're actually still quite moist. They're steaming a bit. You don't want your plate turned up all full of condensation. Pancakes will be soggy. So while they're on there, put the topping on and then transfer them to the plates that the people that are eating are going to use. Let's see, 15 seconds. Ooh, maybe a bit longer. Right, so being the first batch, the pan might not be as hot, so I've left these for about a minute instead. That's about as good as it's going to get. We'll start burning after this. 2, 3, 4. Right, next batch, I'm not going to top up again. I'm just going to put the pancakes straight on there because there's still a bit of butter. It's a non-stick pan anyway, we don't want it too wet. This is what you get if you take the eye off the ball. They're very, very holy, so I reckon these will be in a bit of the dark side. Oh, not quite. Slightly Darth Vader, but not quite the Galactic Emperor. Here we go. And 2, just about rescued. Oh no, that one's going to have to be eaten before it goes in the plate. Oh, and that one too. Not bad, but I should have been keeping my eye on them. Right, while we're waiting for those to cook, toppings wise, whole nut peanut butter if you really fancy. You can chop up some bananas, stick on some honey. Of course there is the classic maple syrup. I've just had this stuff recommended, not tried it yet, so that might be me for this morning. And Nutella. When these pancakes are warm, if your Nutella's a little bit on the hard side, spread a little bit and then just wait for the pancakes to heat up and melt it. Oh, look at the steam coming off them. What you might notice is these ones are a lot smoother, so if you're looking for a nice smooth effect, you don't want much fat on the pan at all, just a little bit. The more bubbly they are, the more bumps you get, the more fat bubbles you get, the more little raised bits you get too. So it all depends on your finish. They almost look like crumpets. It's because the pan's quite hot, so I might actually turn the pan down to stop that bubbling. Can't say I'm a culinary genius or any kind of presentation freak, but my kids seem to like the good old flower pattern, or sometimes the paw print if you're feeling a little bit creative. Get funky. Add bananas, add blueberries, add raspberries, whatever you like. They like theirs plain with the fruit on the side. So here it goes, the ultimate taste test. As you can see, I've not even opened this one, so my favourite bit of a Nutella tub. But I did the Nutella without showing you anyway. Right, try and get these bits off. One-handed it's not going to work, but you know that in terms of OCD, I am going to pull all those pieces off. But this is crunchy. Can you see the crunches? Interesting stuff. Let's see. Does it spread well? Not too bad. Let's see what goes on. Let it melt a little. And then a little taste test, and then we're done. I'm going to take a bite of that. I'll tell you if it's my new favourite thing. Not bad. It's like pancake biscuits.